There has been some very big, tragic, shocking, and breaking news in the case of Celeste Rivas Hernandez over the weekend. I'm going to get into all of it. I'm also going to give you some of my opinions, I guess, on why some of this very important information seems to have been leaked through outlets like TMZ, and why I do believe that it is accurate. And again, I know that some people are like, TMZ, but let me tell you why I think everything is accurate and what went down this weekend. I'm Lauren Conlin. Welcome to Los Angeles Magazine's daily pop culture, scandals, and crime news podcast. Now, just a trigger warning here. This is not pretty. This is not good news, and it really breaks my heart for Celeste Rivas Hernandez. It really does. This case is so sad, and it just seems to be getting more sad and just more disturbing. So first, let's go to the breaking news that TMZ reported on Saturday, which was November 22nd. They spoke to someone directly at the Los Angeles Medical Examiner's Office who told them that most likely Celeste Rivas Hernandez, her cause of death was going to be undetermined because her body was in such poor condition. Her head was subsequently missing, and it did come in pieces, but it was frozen, reportedly frozen. And when it was in David's Tesla, it was reportedly thawing out. I mean, I don't quite know what to make of this, except I had flip-flopped previously when the LAPD came out and made their statement on September 29th saying, we might not have any criminal culpability here beyond concealment of a body, which is a misdemeanor in California. And, that could also explain why the LAPD hasn't arrested anyone, let's say, because that is a misdemeanor. So if you arrest someone, you kind of got to let them go right after. So I don't know what good that would do. But I think what I had been asking myself, and this comes after I had reported on TMZ getting the information from another LAPD source / leak about David's tracking data being in the middle of nowhere in Santa Barbara County in the spring of 2025. They leaked that information. I found that to be very important to this timeline because, it does seem like Celeste passed away in the spring of 2025. I think the question is just, why move her body around? What's going on here? So back to these leaks, let's say. I have a feeling, and this is my opinion, and this is based on, I guess, past cases that I've researched and covered in Los Angeles. I think that it's very possible here that the medical examiner's office really might strongly disagree with the LAPD's findings so far. And they're leaking information to light a fire and saying, look, you're claiming that there might not be any criminal culpability beyond concealment of a body. Well, I got news for you here. This is so clearly abuse of a corpse. This is clearly a purposeful dismemberment, and somebody clearly froze the body on purpose, possibly for it not to smell before they had a chance to dispose of it. I mean, to me, there's no other reason behind the medical examiner's office leaking information other than, they're kind of at odds with the LAPD. They don't like how they're handling it. They don't like the information they're putting out there to the public, and they want more out there. But there is a very strong possibility at this point that her cause of death is going to be undetermined. That's tough because then you can't exactly officially classify it as a homicide until, I guess, more information comes to light. And I think that something else that, actually, first, let me play part of Ashley Banfield, the way she covered this on Saturday when the news broke. I'm going to play part of what she says on her show or her podcast, I guess. I really, I like her coverage for so many things, especially this case. But yeah, you'll just get a better idea of everything when I play what she said. And then I'll get into the second sort of half of the update I want to share. All right.
Okay, some really huge news to report in the case of the singer David, who spells his name with a 4, and Celeste Rivas Hernandez, his underage girlfriend, who was found dead in his Tesla trunk. So, where do I start? The robbery homicide unit of the LAPD has been really heating up on this case lately, and now TMZ says sources in that unit said that Celeste was decapitated, that her torso was found intact, but that her limbs had been removed and cut into pieces. Here's the other jaw-dropping piece of information and detail. The ME, apparently, according to TMZ, said that her pieces had been frozen and that they'd likely at some point been thawing inside the trunk of David's Tesla. Whoa.
Yeah.
All of this is to say that the ME apparently got the body in deplorable condition. We kind of knew that already, but so bad that they're likely unable to figure out a cause or a manner of death. And you know the difference, manner of death is suicide, homicide, that kind of thing.
Right.
Cause of death is what happened. Were you poisoned? Were you shot? Were you strangled? They're not going to be able to find either of those things. And it's likely it's just going to say undetermined, when they eventually finish the autopsies, the paperwork on this death. And
okay. So you get it. She's kind of saying the same thing that I just said. So yeah, it's going to be very difficult to figure out what happened again until there's more information. And what is that information going to be? So this leads me to sort of my next part of this podcast today. On the Two Angry Men podcast that was released also on Saturday, November 22nd, Mark Garagos came out and said that, the LAPD knows of a second quote unquote suspect. We don't know if this suspect or this person of interest was involved before, knew about something that was going to happen to Celeste before, during, when whatever happened to her happened, or he stepped in after to help. We don't know any of that. But what we do know is that somebody has been identified as moving that Tesla, and that's how they know. To me, I feel like I reported on this weeks ago. They do know who moved the Tesla last. And when Mark said this, he very much said, I'm not going to name names, but the comment section on that podcast, which is the Two Angry Men podcast, you can find it right here on Los Angeles Magazine as well. But I'm talking about the comments on the TMZ channel. When TMZ first posted it, people went crazy. They all said, oh, it's Neo the Asian. That's David's best friend. It had to be Neo who was moving the Tesla. They all said that. And this was based also on information that PI Steve Fisher shared on Law and Crime. He shared it on Banfield, shared it with me. There is surveillance footage, basically, in the neighborhood where Steve had said, yeah, I know the last person who moved the Tesla, and it was very late July. Steve never said the name Neo the Asian. Again, this is coming from online sleuths, and I agree with them. Again, LAPD has not confirmed this. No one has confirmed this except for online sleuths, myself, possibly some others. But this is why. Again, Steve said he has footage of who moved the Tesla late July. It wasn't David. David on his Instagram posted photos the day of his tour, July 30th. Neo the Asian, he's in 2 of those photos. People are speculating that the photos were taken possibly on the 29th. He posted them maybe while he's in transit, heading, off to his tour. And so Neo was at his house in those photos. And many people are guessing that he was the last one moving the Tesla based on the fact that he seemed to be the only one in David's house that day, based on, again, photos and based on possible surveillance footage. So also there have been reports that Neo is no longer in the country. I have not confirmed this yet. However, he has not posted on any of his social media platforms. And, you know, if he's not in the country, it's kind of difficult to question him. They could, if they had enough to arrest him for something, which I don't think they do, they could contact Interpol. They could, you know, extradite him back here. But just for questioning, I mean, you can't force anyone to talk when they're not in the United States. Again, you need to arrest someone on, you know, something to get them back here. But moving the Tesla, again, it doesn't make Neo a suspect of any kind, I guess. It just makes him involved, possibly, because there was a body in the Tesla at that point. We know there was a body. That was the last time it was moved. So it's a lot. This is all seeming to be coming to a head here in the media, but still, LAPD is saying nothing. And I also go back and I wonder, why has David's high-powered attorney, Blair Burke, said nothing? She's been, you know, silent on David's behalf this entire time, and I think that's a huge mistake. I don't quite understand why she wouldn't put out some kind of statement proclaiming his innocence, saying it's all a misunderstanding, saying that, you know, if he was in fact friends with Celeste, you know, saying that it wasn't romantic. I don't know. I don't know why. It just seems worse to me to have everybody talking about it and making all of these wild accusations. So yeah. And the accusations, I guess I shouldn't say they're wild. They are clearly based on everything that we've seen, which unfortunately points to him at this point. I mean, I've said it. This guy, he has not been seen since her body was found. We have seen footage of them together previously. Her family said she was in a relationship with someone named David. David canceled his tour, postponed his Withered Deluxe album. He moved moved his homes, transferred his homes in Houston, Texas to his mother's name. He moved out of his Hollywood Hills home in California. I mean, the list goes on. He has done a lot of damage control, I would say, you know, since Celeste's body was found. But he hasn't spoken, and he has not been seen at all since he returned to either California, Texas, whatever location he's at right now. Yeah, nobody has seen him. So again, I will keep everybody updated on this very, very sad and tragic case. Sometimes, guys, I feel like we are being gaslit out here. Like I have flip-flopped so many times based on the LAPD, based on what I've heard with my own ears from my sources directly on the ground. I have flip-flopped. So this is driving me nuts, and my heart goes out to Celeste's family. Yeah, I hope that there is justice, and I hope that it's swift, even though it hasn't been so far. All right, everyone, thank you so much for listening and for watching. I'll be back tomorrow with more pop culture scandals and crime news right here on Los Angeles Magazine.